Talking to Anthony Mackie, who plays the role of Will Johnson in the upcoming film Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
Very good.
How would you describe Will Johnson?
Um, I look at it. William H. Johnson is kind of the reason why the Emancipation Proclamation was written and the Civil War took place. He was a friend, a cohort of Abraham Lincoln in real life. They grew up together, and once Abraham Lincoln got into politics, William H. Johnson was hired as his chauffeur and caddy, also his friend. He was with him when he gave the Gettysburg Address. Coming back from the Gettysburg Address, he got sick and passed away from smallpox. And Abraham Lincoln, with money out of his own pocket, had him buried at Arlington Cemetery. And on his headstone, it says William H. Johnson, citizen. I mean, that was 1864. For Abraham Lincoln to have that kind of insight and compassion about this man of a different race, of a different background, it's remarkable when you look at that in the storyline of who Abe Lincoln was and everything he did.
I guess not a lot of people know about this character, or actually this real life figure. Was that one of the main reasons that attracted you to this film?
It was the main reason. I feel like people should know about who he is and who he was, and if we have to do that under the guidelines of vampires, I think that's cool because looking at that period in history, for them to do what they did, they kind of were badasses. They kind of were superheroes to stand up against the rest of the world. Because it's not like it was a cakewalk if you got to the North and you were African American. No, you were still getting your ass kicked and you were still enslaved and most of the time kidnapped and brought back. So, when William H. Johnson came across Abraham Lincoln again, not only did Abraham Lincoln give William a writ saying he was a freed man of color, he gave all of his family and friends writs saying they were freed people of color as well, and they were not to be kidnapped and sold back into slavery. So, all of that happened of, I mean, 6 years before he wrote the Emancipation Proclamation.
Now, is this your first time working behind CGI?
For the most part, Real Steel was a little bit of green screen CGI, and Eagle Eye was a little bit of green screen CGI. But this was the first time I really got the full experience of someone throwing foam tennis balls at you and saying, "Oh, it's a tree branch," or "Oh, it's rocks." It's difficult. It's unlike anything else I've ever done.
How's working with Timur, and have you seen his previous films?
Yeah, yeah. I've seen. I saw Wanted, of course, because Morgan Freeman's in it, and I also saw his other film, Night Watch, Day Watch. I was a huge fan of his, and when I got the call about the movie, I met with Timur here in New York, and I wanted to be very clear that this wasn't to be for. If I was going to be a part of it, I didn't want it to be a campy movie. I didn't want it to be a movie where it's a Mel Brooks type bump 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 type movie. But Timur was sincere about steeping the movie in honesty and making it 100% real. And it harkens back to the old vampire movies, not these new MTV vampires, but more so these guys are scary. And when you look at it in 3D, it really works. This is really a good movie, and the action sequences are amazing. And I left the theater excited and wanting to see it again.
Now, Ben is a new actor on the scene, but both of you have something in common. You both went to Juilliard.
Yeah, yeah. We both went to Juilliard. We were on Broadway at the same time 2 years ago. I've known Ben for over 10 years now. He was a underclassman, a freshman when I was at Juilliard, and I helped him up through the ranks.
So, how was it working on him on this one? Teaching him the ropes again?
It was great, man. It's funny now that we're out of school. It's really really refreshing to work with someone who has a craft, who has the ability to sit and talk about a scene intelligently and break it down beat by beat, moment to moment, in character work and design, and really figure out what each moment is. I mean, there's so many poignant beats in this movie that take it out of the realm of cheese. The title of this movie is the joke. Once you get past the title, nothing about this movie is far fetched or unbelievable.
Now, you have a knack of doing big films, small films. How do you work that out in terms of what you're going to do next?
You read a lot. Uh, there, there are a lot of scripts out there being made, and more scripts not being made. and I'm fortunate. I have a very good team, and I made it very clear to them, and they also made it very clear to me that we're going to say no more than we say yes. And we're going to look for projects that's not always written for black actors, and we're going to look for projects that's not always paying a bucket load of money every time you get cast. Sometimes you make $35 a day, but those are projects that are worth that $35. So it all depends on who you work with.
I've seen some recent photos where you seem all buffed up for your new film, Pain and Gain.
Yeah.
What's that like? What's your role in it?
I play a bodybuilder, athletic guy who's at the beginning of his bodybuilding training, and I got up to 208 pounds. So it was cool. I mean, I worked out real hard, and as big as I got, I stood next to The Rock, and I still look like a 12-year-old kid. I mean, that dude is massive. So it was a fun movie shooting down in Miami, and really getting down there to work with Mark and Dwayne was a lot of fun.
And you also have Gangster Squad coming up.
September, yeah.
So like holding the gun, is that new for you?
Holding a gun, no. The big thing for me with Gangster Squad was it was another, true story. Mickey Cohen was like the Al Capone of the West Coast. And the Los Angeles Police Department put together a rogue group of cops to take him down. And the cop I play is a real police officer, Harrison, who was walking the beat in the black neighborhood trying to get heroin and cocaine off the streets. And he realized that in order to do that, he had to take the problem at its head. So he went after Mickey Cohen with this group. So it's just cool to be able to play these real figures, these people that changed our lives and changed our day-to-day lives that we don't really know about.
What's Runner Runner?
Runner is kind of 21 meets Social Network. It's about these two guys who are played by Ben Affleck and Justin Timberlake, and they basically start online gambling outside the U.S. so they don't have to pay taxes here. And I play the FBI agent that takes them down.
Well, so you've got a lot going on. Now, I know you shot a film last year with Sanaa Lathan and Forrest Whitaker called Vipaka. What's going on with that?
Forrest is still in the process of cutting it together and trying to get it together. There are a bunch of, we shot it down in New Orleans, and it was a lot of fun, and Sanaa was amazing to work with, and Forrest was really, it was really interesting to work with him, and, it's a small, dark, interesting movie. And right now we're just they're in the process of cutting it together and getting it out there for people to see.
Now, with all these films that you're doing, any thoughts of going back to the theater world?
Of course. I'm always looking for a play. I went to go see Streetcar Named Desire last night, and I was sitting there watching it, and I was like, man, I want to be on the stage. So I'm in the process now for hopefully the end of this year or sometime next year to find a play to do.
And how's your bar going?
Bar's going really well. Bar's doing extremely well. It's fun. I was there 2 nights ago bartending, so I'm looking to open another one in New Orleans or maybe in Harlem.
Now, for all these movies that you've been doing, you've been great at that. Is it time for you to be a lead guy in these movies?
I don't know. I think I'm ready for it. I don't want to take that on before it's time. I feel like we've seen too many actors try to jump up to being the leading man, and they're not ready for it. I enjoy my anonymity. I enjoy the flexibility I have to be able to play small, great roles, as opposed to my ego taking over and saying I have to be the first name above the title. I don't think that's necessary all the times. I've been very fortunate. So we'll see.
Now, there's been talk that Marvel's thinking about doing a lead role for the Black Panther. Your name has been talked about as a leading guy who can play that role. Do you see it?
I would love to play Black Panther. I think when you look at all of the action heroes, you look at what Wesley Snipes did with Blade, you look at, what Michael Jai White did with Spawn, I feel like it would be an amazing opportunity. And I feel like it's definitely time for that character to be brought to life, because it's a fictional world. It's a fictional character. So you can't say that people won't go see this type of movie because the character's black. If you make a good movie with a good script and a good cast, I think people go see it.
Thanks a lot, and I'll talk to you later.
Definitely.
Thanks.